Hello. Are we live? Is this happening? We have the dramatic music because, oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you, first of all, so much for hanging out at the Rockhound podcast premiere. And I lost internet like the whole last 15 minutes of the podcast. And I was like trying to keep up on my phone. But I was a little bit stressed, like, what's going on? So you guys, thank you for hanging out. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I so appreciate you guys being here. I really do. And I'd like to say hi to Randy and Sonia and to Spot. Thank you for coming. And Melissa's here. And Lisa's here, and she wanted to say hi to everybody too, but she's not going to be in the chat tonight because she can't weave and it's hard for her to watch. But tell Karen I'm sorry. And Lisa, that's okay. I totally understand. Thank you so much. And Bob's Rocks is here and he is saying we are live. I'm so happy. And don't worry, Lisa, if you want to hang out for a little while, we're going to be doing a bit of the weaving, but we're going to be tangenting super duper hard too. So it's not going to be too tedious, I hope, for those of you who aren't doing the weaving as well. And Melissa is here. Did I say hi to Melissa and Bob yet? I might have just thought it and didn't do it. Brains all over the place. Seriously, I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, my internet just went down and it was like, nope. Like, but I have to do a live now. So, John is here. Thank you so much for coming, John. Hello. And Jenny is here. And Scott Argyle is here. Good to see you. Hello to everyone, says Scott. And Sandmaker can hear the music, maybe. I can hear the music. And Cody is here. Thank you so much for coming, Cody. And Jennifer Ship is here. And Spot is here. Me too. Spot is spot on with being spotted here at the live stream. Thank you so much. I think I saw my mom up when I was typing really quick, like I'll be right there. It's because I was scrambling trying to get the internet back up. I'm like on the phone to the company and doing the thing, and so anyways, thanks all y'all who were here earlier and perhaps have swept in and out like the tide, like the Viking tide. We're doing the Viking Weave tonight, and so we're gonna conquer our necklaces, bracelets, rings, whatever it is that you're going to do, pillage and conquer some jewelry project here. And oh my gosh, John. Oh, thank you. This is like, I love this. This is so appropriate. Like, how about an internet fund, Karen? It's just I think it's because they feel like I'm in a primitive village where we might as well be in Tahiti or something, I think. And that would be great, actually. But thank you so much, John. Apparently, this is just like a tiny bit too far for the interwebs to go all the time because they weren't working for me like 15 minutes ago. Not at all stressful. Hey, Steinkerns, everyone, to John and everyone with internet tonight. What's in your great big moose? Oh, we need this. Steinkerns to you and yours. I hope that all of your rock hounding week has been joyous, and thank you for coming to celebrate Friday with me. I love Fridays so much because I get to hang out with you guys. Tomcat Josh is in the house, and so is his cat, at least was last night. Good to see you, Tomcat. Zzz. And did I say hi to Allison already? I might be starting to double down now. Allison is here, and Sandmaker saying hi to Mom. Thank you so much. And yes, Melissa's saying that my mom was here. And she might be like sitting back, not at the keyboard, just enjoying the show in mom fashion, style, and grace. And Cynthia Foss is in the house. Hey, yeah. I have like a little surprise for y'all at the very end, and so stick around if you can, and you can see what that is. And then Off Yo Rockamani is in the house as well. Good to see you live and direct, all the way from Oz. And John is Steinkerning everyone, and Rocky is Steinkerning. And that's kind of like a Josh thing. I love it. It's sticking. Um, Josh and Rocky, thank you so much for your Steinkerns. I think I'll have another. Boy, oh boy, it's a night for hydration and celebrations, of course. And so it looks like Skull, indeed. Allison is still waiting for the fiber interweb. Our internet hasn't changed since 1965. No, I'm just kidding. Since I was in school. Oh my gosh. Well, shoes. Needing to update in our rural community. Indeed, Allison. I hope that you get better internet there. And you make your lives on Wednesdays so killer. So nobody would ever know that there's like little squirrels in wheels running that internet each Wednesday for you. And hey, Kirk, good to see you. It's the resident ceramicist just dropped in late as usual. Gotta get a cup for you to show off. Yes, yes, yes. One of these days we're gonna have to meet again and get the tsunami cup, or whichever is slated in my direction. I will be such a grateful Steinkerner in a stylish Kirk mug. That would be awesome. And so let's see, Sonia. Did I hear a surprise? Yeah, just a little something for everybody. A teaser and a treat, indeed. Like we all deserve treats, right? And yes, Judy Mom says that she is here. Yay! Everybody's in the house and everybody's saying hi to everybody else, and I love it. So tonight we have on deck doing some doing some Steinkerning thoroughly, and then also doing some Viking weaving. And I also wanted to go over some of the variations, things that you can do. I was like going back and forth a little bit with Melissa, and she was also asking about some of the stuff that you can use for polishing and stuff. Or I can't remember if she was asking or if I was just offering, but I've got a little bit of that on deck as well. So we've got Karen. It's little prairie dogs on hamster wheels running to keep Allison's interwebs up and active. True. I love that. That's such an adorable visual that you bring about. Awesome. Thank you so much, John, for that. Um, all those little prairie dogs on the hamster wheel for the Prairie Dog Rocks. And Bob's talking about the Starlink. And I would love, go ahead and pop this into either the chat or into the comments what you think of Starlink, because we have that little trailer that we're going to be toting around. And we are trying to think of some mobile ways of having interwebs so that we can still be dialed in and hanging out with you guys while we're on the road and be doing our lives and all the other stuff that we'd love to do. Yes, the moose juice, Afia Rakamani. The juice in the moose is loose. And so I would love to hear what you guys have to say about, there's the Starlink, and then there's some other interwebs that people are using that come, you can hotspot. I guess T-Mobile has something that you can do that's a mobile style device. It's like this little cube that you take with you. So I would love for you guys to chime in on that. And Allison is like, "Are you spying on me? Like, I've got my prairie dogs working over here in Montana." My head is so discombobulated this evening. And I love that I get to hang out with you guys while that's happening. Did I say hi to Jenny? I hope so. And I think Rock Twister has Starlink, is what Spot is saying. So if the Twista does come into the chat, perhaps we will hit her up for some info. And Cindy is here. Excellent. And we just love the yays of any variety and kind that we can get, for sure. um and so oh no. Well, what are the prairie dogs drinking, Bob? Why do they keep on falling off the wheel? Was the wheel not meant for them? Maybe they're not quite as physically adept as the hamsters, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure how that goes. But yeah, love to you, Cindy. And she's saying love to my rock family, which is so true. And I would have to double down on that. Like I was saying before, it was a good time over there at the Rockhound podcast, and we did go over some of the fun things that are going to be going on this weekend. Oh, Jake just got here as well, and hey everyone, great podcast, thanks for sharing my cab. That was super cool. And so the podcast that we're referring to, just in case you're coming on for this portion of the evening and perhaps missed the last hour, over on the Rockhound podcast, we actually had a viewer show and tell that was about making. So all of the submissions had something to do with making something out of their finds and whatnot, their fabulous rocks. And so boy, that cabochon that Jahik made was incredible. If you haven't seen it, go check it out when this here live is over, and it's a super duper good time. And we go over some of the stuff that's going on this weekend. Lots of lives. Kyle isn't going to go live, and so I think everybody's going to try to fill in the blanks. I know that Jeff and Tomcat Josh, or when I say Jeff, I mean JNV Rockhounding, is supposed to go live, and they're taking us to a rock and mushroom show, I believe. And then Josh is going to be taking us to a rock and mineral show here in Oregon. So it's going to be a great time. Stay tuned for that. And I believe that Rufotris, Rooted Rockhound, Chris has a live sale going on Saturday as well. I believe that Alleluia is going to be doing some live streams over the weekend, following the progression of some of the things that he was fabricating today. It was a good time hanging out at his live today. And so if you haven't checked that out, go check out Alleluia. And then I think that I'm going to actually go live on Sunday, and I might just be doing a new thing on that day. And so we're going to see, but I think it would be cool to do. And Melissa is wondering, people don't say awesome sauce enough anymore. Did I just say it? Does that fit for you? Like, is that enough, or do we need more awesome sauces than that? And oh no, Cindy's account was banned. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. And so let's see, we've got PBR marinating meat, says Bob's Rocks. That's incredible. And let's see, we've got, if you guys are in the Discord server, look at the show and tell section for my whalebone cab. Will do. And so those of you who are not part of our Discord, you're invited. If one of the mods wants to pop up a Discord link, that would be fantastic. And y'all know that we were just talking at the podcast, actually exactly when we were talking about the Secret Santa maybe even a Christmas in July kind of situation. And we were talking about organizing that. And Melissa came up with this incredible idea. That was when my internet imploded. So it was like such a good idea that it went to all sorts of different places in a handbasket, and I had to like bring up the premiere on my phone so that I could just scramble and try to get back online. And so, yeah, go check out Jay Hick's beautiful whalebone cab, and you can even get a rebate on the shows and tells from the premiere of the podcast by going to the podcast show and tell, which we'll go ahead and start over from tonight's show, and we'll get ready for the next one because you guys always have such cool things going on. And so, thank you so much for sharing. I really, really appreciate all of you guys for that. And oh my gosh, awesome sauce. There you go. That's not just $1 words. That's like a $10 awesome sauce. Thank you so much, Tomcat Josh. That's brilliant. Stein Kearns and Stein Cairnses and Stein Joshes to you. For that, very, very kind, and we'll keep that awesome sauce going. That'll keep the awesome sauce alive for this Viking voyage that we're going on tonight. All right. And so that's great. Melissa started it. So thank you for that. And it looks like Jeff, thank you so much for sharing the Discord link. I really appreciate that. Totally looking forward to that rock show that you're going to be treating us to. About what time do you think that you're going to be coming on tomorrow? If you wouldn't mind tossing that down in the chat. I think that Tomcat, awesome sauce, Josh, is going to be going on right around 9:30 a.m. for the Pacific Standard Time. And so perhaps we can all align with our lives, and so that all of us that are just absolute live junkies can lily pad around from live to live. And thanks again, Josh. I really appreciate it. We've got John. One thing I've noticed is, despite your struggling to get on tonight, you personally are not suffering the chat lag like you normally do. You're just like a second behind, unlike the normal. I think that's probably because I was responding on my phone, unless you're talking about tonight here on on the live stream. And what I'm trying to do is stay in contact with the chat. It's evolution. And so you'll have to let me know at what point I'm doing better. I love the feedback. Thank you so much, John. And what I'm trying to do is evolve each time and get a little bit better at keeping these things a little tidier and getting better at the technology and everything. Melissa says, "Woohoo! Awesome sauce." Cheers and Stein Kearns and awesome sauce to you all. Thank you, John, for the feedback. That's pretty cool. I like, yay. I'm trying to keep up with everything. And that Opal guy has just entered the live. Thank you so much for coming. We're getting ready to do some Viking pillaging into the jewelry realm, and that should be some good fun. And wasn't tomorrow. Oh no, Jeff, I'm so sorry. Okay. So it wasn't tomorrow, but not going to be able to make it. So disappointed. I'm sorry. So anyways, thanks for at least the effort of thinking that perhaps you were going to take us out on a live. I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to make it. We'll try to make up for your live. Do you think you might do something else instead? You guys are always such a hoot to watch. And so we'll be standing by and wanting to watch a live any way you cook one up. Oh my gosh, look at this, Cindy. Thank you so much. Cheers to you and awesome sauce, the Canadian version of awesome sauce, eh? I love it. Keep it rolling. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Cindy. I'm gonna drink to that. Ah, for getting off to such a rocky start. This is turning out way better than I expected. Thank you so much again, Cindy, for your very very generous pitch towards the fun of us all. Thank you, and to Awesome Sauce and keeping the awesome sauce alive. And thank you, Allison. I really really appreciate that. And so let's see the the spot is talking about needing to activate that handoff link. Oh, you guys are just way too generous. And Sharon and Jackson, hello and thank you so much for coming on. Skull says Cindy, absolutely. Everybody's saying hi to the Sharon and Jackson situation and cheers. So without further ado, I just wanted to really quickly do the thing. We're doing the Viking Weave, and I'm just going to recap really quick that it is this knit pattern in metal. So you get to sew with metal. How much fun is that? It's lots of fun, and you can see that there's a lot of variety. So you can use different kinds of metals. You can use patina. You can not patina it. You can do what you want. There's a lot of different variations of things that you can make with it. So you can hang a pendant from it. You can make a bracelet, and you can hang yet a different style of pendant, or the one before was in silver and this one's in copper and a lot thicker. And so again, just to recap quickly, we had a design that we made where we used a stick in which to wrap our wire around. And so this is, I think it's like a plant skewer or a sign skewer or something like that. You can use a ruler, you can use some molding, whatever it is that works out for you. 5 wraps around with the copper. And hey, Kappa. Oh, Northern Rocks is in the house. And so welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. And oh, Jenny has a good suggestion here. Oh, and Tiger Eye is here. Oh, very, very good to see you, Tiger Eye. And make sure to stick around for the end, all y'all, because we have just like a teeny weeny surprise, but I'm kind of excited. And so that would be something to hang out for. Swazi Sundays, Jeff, haha. And so, because we know some people's weaknesses, eh? And so I'm wondering if Jeff got another blade, or if it's going to be a really really long Swazi Sunday cutting. And so we were just talking about uh, the first little thing that you make. Whoops! I love the this guy. Remember just wrapping it around 5 times and then you collect it. That's interesting. It gets totally overexposed. When against my skin, disappears. So we have this interesting thing. And then if you can recall, then we opened it up into a flower type situation. It was a 5 petal kind of thing because we wrapped around 5 times and then we twisted it at the top to gather it, and then we made that flower. And then we did take our flower and it became an octopus that ate the Allen wrench, remember? And so here's the octopus eating the Allen wrench. In the first picture to the left, you see that we just have taken those petals and wrapped it around the Allen wrench, and then we took some any kind of tape, just not too terribly sticky. we wrapped it around it just to contain it. And so the second picture is getting started. You start from the right side and you feed your wire through the connection between two of your petals and make this little loop. And you can see that it goes over the loop underneath the gathering or the overlap of the two wires of the two petals, and then it comes back out over the loop, and then it goes over the entire thing. um, and you can kind of see that in that center picture along with my nice boo-boo that I made myself. And then over there in the third picture you can see, okay, now we're trucking. You've seen a whole row of the what usually equates to about 3 feet of the Viking Weave copper. I measured that out just by wingspan. I'll just like eyeball 3 feet ish or no longer than my wingspan, cut it off. And then that's about how far down my Allen key it'll get. And then I have to start over again. Now, I showed you on Monday the way to start over again under the last loop. And actually on this picture, I'm showing you how to start on the next loop over than that. And that might be a little bit easier for some of you. So you can see I just started the same way that I did on our octopus. I pulled the entire wire through, and then I took it through the underneath of the cross of two of the, just the little loop, and pulled it back out, and boom, you're going again. And then just when you make your way all the way around, you just have to like jump over to that one. There will be a little bit of a space that perhaps or perhaps not you will be able to see when you pull it through your draw plate. And so here's our little tutorial reminder. And all of these things you can stop. If you're reviewing, you can stop your stream and review slowly, go back, whatever you need to do. This is just a quick wrap up of what we had covered for an hour and a half or whatever on Monday. And so this is a nice little tutorial picture where you always go over the wire coming from that right hand side. You dip underneath your loop, and then you come back over the wire again on the left tail, and then you just keep on repeating. And that's what that slide's all about. And so this is what it looks like when you start stacking your Viking weaves all and your wings, if you've got Valkyrie wings, if you will. I did forget my Valkyrie helmet back in the other boat. And so sorry, no horns this evening. I'm going to go ahead and catch up really quick here on the chat. It looks like folks are all full of typos and fun buffering. Oh dear, man, the interwebs, my goodness. And still welcoming folks in. Singing every day, and I'm buffering. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, and Sharon and Jackson are buffering too. Goodness gracious. And Papa's Gems is in the house. Hey, Papa's Gems, are we here? Let me know if you guys are 5x5 in the chat. Like if you can hear and you're not buffering and we're still doing the live. I definitely don't want to go on if everybody's stuck in an interweb stasis. And so we've got, all right, Sharon and Jackson says we're back now. And let's see, Bob's Rock said, had an old plastic cutting board that I just saved it in the shop, cut a piece today and made my draw plate or the draw board today. Excellent. Yeah, we're about to get to that. So I love that you're already ahead of the game with that. Fantastic. And that Opal guy says entire wire through to it's a poetry slam tonight. I love it. Yeah. Where's my uke? We could be playing a jam with the poetry and lyrics. Excellent. And Jenny, it just hit me, says John, wasn't that old early Mama and Papa's song that got dropped and renamed Monday, Monday? Swazi Sunday. Something like that, right? And that Opal guy says, no buffering here. And Bob's Rocks is 5x5. Thank you. And Cynthia is 5x5. Scott's 5x5. Thank you so much. Cynthia. The others, okay, so we have Cynthia and we have Cindy, and I'm going to try not to say Cynthia again. Sorry about that. Cindy says she's good. All good, says Jennifer, and no buffering over where Sandmaker is, only in his mind. Okay, excellent. And yeah, Northern Rock says it's the interweb Twilight Zone. I know, right? Oh my goodness me. I do feel that way so often. If I am in the buff, does that count? That Opal guy. Uh, that's a good play on buffering. Yes, yes, that does. Cheers to you. Everybody hydrate. Make sure that we're hydrated before this next step. And so here's this thing. Here's this thing that we're making. And if you were going on from Monday night's project and you felt confident to keep on looping, then this is what you would see. And what I want to draw your attention to is in picture number 1, that's to the left. You can actually see where I started over again. There's an absolute, like about an inch down. You can see like a and then it kind of is a little bit more consistent until the end there. And if you look over at picture number 2, then you can also see the space where I told you have to kind of jump from where you have stopped one and started the other loop, the second way that I showed you. Then that's what you're going to have, like a little bigger window or a little bigger smile for one of your transfers in the pattern, which is absolutely fine. When you pull it through the draw plate, all of the little uneven inconsistencies that you do see that goes down the weave pretty well go away. So that's one of the things that I absolutely love about this project, is that it's very, very forgiving. Here is that high zoot draw plate that we were talking about before. And so, oh no, John Saucer Hunter says, tonight my interweb is 2x4. So close, so close. You might be able to build something out of that if you have, like, say, 2x4s. At least you have something that you can make a drop plate out of. And so you can see, as far as this picture is concerned, this is just a simple piece of very rough milled cherry wood that I got at the lumber yard. It was a discard because it was warped. And I went ahead with my drill. And I have, just one of those big sets of drills that has all the sizes that kind of descend from big fat all the way down. And so that's kind of what I did. And just a heads up, those of you who are using a wooden draw plate that you use or that you make by yourself, that as you pull the wire through, that hole that you're using will get a little bit larger. So you might have to recreate and recreate and recreate a new hole that's fresh, so that you have something that you can pull your project through that will be smaller. And one will become large and become the large one, and a smaller one will become the next size up, and the smaller one will become the next size up, just depending on how soft your wood is. And that's totally okay. Just keep on adding holes. And that's the beauty of having a long draw plate. Also, I liked having a long one like this if you're making one, because then, like I said on Monday, that you can put it on the floor and you can hold it kind of with your feet and your knees. And if you have something that you have to pull on, kind of yard on it hard, then you've got a position that you can take that is strong. Whereas, some of those little metal draw plates, like, you're going to have to put them in a vise or something like that, which is absolutely fine. And I believe that somebody, I can't remember who it was exactly, brought up the great point that there are also draw pliers that you can buy that have a hook in them. And so I just use regular pliers. We hold on to the tape part of our project, but you can also get fancy wire drawing pliers as well. So, there's no ceiling to how shishi you can get with this project, but also just know that you can totally accomplish it with the stuff that you have at home. And so, here is the exact project that we were working on, that those pictures were taken of earlier on in our slideshow. This is it after I pulled it through the draw plate. And you're going, no, you went ahead and you left us all behind, and that's not fair. Well, what I wanted to do is actually have an example for you guys of what it looks like when you get it patinaed that we can work on tonight. So I whipped up yet another one, another fresh one, so that we can do some weaving together. But also I have one that's kind of progressed to the next step so that we can go on. Okay. So that is where it stands right now. And let's see, Friday night chat wanting large holes, smaller and softwood. Yeah, right. That is some seriously anal termites you got, right? I love it. And Jennifer says, wire origami. Yeah, just the whole idea of weaving with wire. I love metals so much, being the silversmith and loving that. And then I try to teach myself knitting each year. I'm not going to talk about how successful I am there actually, but I do love like crocheting and weaving and knitting maybe someday. And being able to do this with the wire is just really satisfying. And like I was saying on Monday, you guys, actually, you don't have to pay attention. Once you get to a certain point, you kind of can go psh, and just weave as you go along, and it's just super easy, flowy, and you only have to think every now and again when you have to reattach a new piece of wire. And so it's actually really kind of zen, and you can zone out. And like I said, if you're a passenger in a car, or if you're watching a movie that you're kind of just only half into, or you want to just listen to somebody converse, you can be doing this the whole time. I love doing this during people's lives. I was doing the one that is going to be here on camera in just a second while I was listening to Alleluia on his live today. So it's a super good thing to do with, like, I don't know about you. I know I even saw like an ADHD thing in the chat tonight, that some of you all like to stay busy with your fingers. You got like fidget spinners or whatever. This is like the perfect thing if you've got a project that you can kind of always just pick up if you want to be doing something. And so here is this, and I think I want this to happen. Yes. And so here's our workspace again. And a few of the things that I wanted to, like, here's my makeshift, not a ruler because I couldn't find mine, to be able to make our little uh, pedal form out of, but that's as easy as that is. And I also wanted to show you guys that if you have a set of the Allen keys or Allen wrenches, um, and your bike's not going to miss the 5 and the 4 and stuff, because those are the ones that are missing right now. And I couldn't for the life of me find the 5. And I think so. I also used the 6. Yeah. And so that's in millimeters. You can use centimeters as well. I like the long ones, but if you only have short keys, that's okay, because you just keep on pushing it up the Allen wrench. And so I just wanted to show you some of the variety of things that you can use, but you can see that this comes right off. And so even if you're traveling, you can travel with your project like in a little kit and keep all of your tools all in one place. And then, and especially if somebody needs to like fix their bike or whatever, then they can use the key or the wrench, but then you can go ahead and slip it back in and you're ready to progress with your project. And so hopefully somebody is peeking at spot origami. um, oh, thank you, Jennifer. People are either or not being adults in the chat, which we don't. Yeah, it's okay. It's Friday. Go ahead and let your hair down. And Allison, girl, you have a lot of hair that you can let down, so go ahead. And I love it. So it's more fun to pretend that I'm not an adult. I hear that too. And so at any rate, here we have the project that we can be working on this evening. And this is just how far that I got. And that's that space where I started over again. And so you can kind of see what that's all about. And then I think I have another one right there. Yeah. And so this one's going to be whatever, however long, because I'm going to go ahead and draw plate this tonight. We'll do like maybe a round or two around for the weaving part, and you guys can ask any questions that you might have, and then we'll go ahead and progress. And so if you have your project ready and you want to, you can go ahead and take it. And basically, once again, you can see I have the loop here. I'm going to always go, if this is like, if each loop is an eye and that's a smile, I'm going to have to look at my project here. I'm going to go underneath that loop and come back out. And so that's blurry. So can you see what I'm doing there? Going in the mouth. Oof. So hard to do when you're looking at the monitor and not the camera. There we go. In the loop from over the top of the bottom lip of that guy on the right hand side where my right hand is, over to the left, and pull it through so that it comes over the lip on the left as well. And then you're gonna, oh my gosh, I caught my I'm gonna have to well, no, I can take these off. No, I'm gonna no. Out of control in my studio here. I caught myself in the project. And so I'm going to pull it through. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that one slow is so that you can see that when I pull it through, I want to make sure that the part of the wire that just came through that loop is going over the top. It always wants to come over the top of the swag or the mouth that we just made. And I'm sorry that sometimes it's a little bit blurry, but there's the swag that we just made, and this is the one that we just pulled through, and it wants to come over the top of focus. I'm just upsetting my phone as much as it's upsetting me, huh? And so that looks, and so as you're going along with your project, if something looks different, then perhaps there's like a chance that you did it wrong, and you might want to do a little investigation of whether or not that was correct or not. And so I'm going to go ahead and do another one here. And so we're going, this is so interesting to look at it as I'm doing it on the monitor instead of looking at it directly. And so I'm going underneath, I've gone over the top of the bottom lip there on the right hand side. And then there's like our cross section of the loop that I'm going underneath. And then it's coming back over the lip on the other side. Pull it through and make sure that after you've pulled it, it's coming over the top of and not the bottom of. And there we've made another perfect loop. And there's our schwags that we just made. And so if you guys have questions, definitely is a good time to do that, and I can answer. And here's a good question here. Do you ever mix your metals, or would that make it look kind of funky? Funky is good, Rocky. And yes, I have made a bicolor one before. And so there's two ways that you can do that. There's a double stitch that you can use. And actually, Raftark, and thanks for reminding me, you didn't even know that you were. I need to include Raftark's link in the description of this video. And so if it's not there yet, it will be there at some point soon. And so, given whenever it is that you're watching this, so if you double up on the wire that you're using through this project, then you can use two colors, and or you can, each time that you snip off and you're ready to start a new piece, you can do a different colored section. And so, this could be striped down the line in zones, or two colors could be riding side by side. That is an extremely good question, though. I couldn't wait to try one. And I did like the way that it looked. And I had a bracelet that was bicolor, silver and copper, and somebody liked it, and so I gave it to him. And so I needed to make another one, because these feel so good to make, that they're very easy to give as well. And so thank you very much for that very good question. And the focus keeps on shifting, and I'm not even drunk tonight, says that opal guy. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I seem to be upsetting the focus on my camera quite a bit. And Sandmaker is saying, you're now a wire head, right? Instead of a metal head, I'm a wire head. Oh boy. And then Spot is saying, over the river and through the woods, a Viking weaving we go. Ozone knows the way to weave as we pray, through the flower petals we go. Ho, nice job, Spot. I could play around with that in real time. Thank you so much. I'm smiling all the way, says Sandmaker. Absolutely. And Bob's Rocks is back. Stupid prairie dog tripped again. Oh man, Bob's Rocks, I feel for you as far as our internets. Oh boy. And then that opal guy, interweaving wires types would look cool. Yes, it does. So definitely. And if you guys do play around with that, please post that up on the Discord. It's super cool looking, and it would be fun to see what other people come up with. I mean, that's not to say that you might even come up with yet another style that somebody else hasn't thought of by using multiple pieces of wire and that sort of thing too. Those of you who are like rappers already and that sort of thing, from smile to smile, right? Yes, Jennifer. We are going from smile to smile. Under the loopiness from smile to smile. I mean, that makes perfect sense to everybody, right? And Allison randomly yells awesome sauce. Right? And what gauge wire am I using? Great question. Oh, LOL. Nope. That's what happens when the chat shifts upwards right when I'm trying to hit something. So this gauge wire is, I believe I am using, here, my package is right here. And so let's do this really quick. Excuse my nose is still just a little bit stuffy, and so I sound like I'm verklempt or something still. And so this is what I'm using right now, and it is a 24 gauge, and this is like obviously hardware store packaging, and so nothing fancy here, and it works great. And so I definitely recommend. It's a wonderfully inexpensive option to be able to get into trying your weaving. And of course, you can twist with it too if you are into wire wrapping. Then also it's something that people also want. I like the fact that I was practicing some of my very, very thin wire tries with the 30 gauge of the brass, and people have the tendency to shy away a little bit from the brass because it looks like it's trying to be fake gold or something. And so what I like about the copper is people still find an aesthetic value from the copper. So I love wearing copper, and other people love wearing copper too, and so it's still something that is pleasing to create, and somebody's going to want it. But also some people find actual therapeutic value out of it as well. So I like using the copper. And so very, very good question. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for that. I'm sure other people were thinking about it. And this is another great question. That opal guy is asking, what about weaving tiny beads in some of the loops? Yes. Yes. Like basically the answer is yes to every single question that you guys might have. You can figure out if you want to do it randomly, or if you want to have a pattern. Just know that it's going to affect the way that the thing comes through the draw plate. And so it might take some experimenting to figure out, like, okay, I don't want to go any bigger than, say, seed beads, because it's hard to pull through the draw plate, and the rest of the body of the wire gets kind of funky because it has to work its way around a big bead or something like that. And so it would be something that you might want to play with. But I have seen some really neat designs that people have done where they integrated beads. And then there was somebody who was actually going around, like, because you are creating, let me give you a visual. We're creating a tube, right? And some people actually were putting beads inside the tube, and so like they would create like almost a net for like a bigger, either a bead or a marble, those beautiful marbles that we can get that are the precious stones, or the semi-precious stones anyway. And you can actually make a net that goes around that, and then you can pull what's after that, and create, say, earrings from something like that. And so basically you're not limited by anything but your imagination as far as this is concerned. So definitely play with it, and once again, post up your experiments, because I would love to see what you come up with. The sky's the limit. And let's see, Rocky Mountain Bear, Karen, if you mix different colors of metals strategically, you can make an ombre chain. Wouldn't that be cool? Uh, Absolutely, especially there's such neat anodized colors. And so can you imagine like doing an anodized color chain? That's a fantastic idea. Thank you so much for that, Spot. I need to spotlight Spot. Spot demands the spotlight with this great idea. And so I would love to see an ombre chain. I don't have any anodized wires right now. I go through fits of wanting to play with some different colors. And so if anybody does have some colored wire that wants to play with that idea, I would love to see how that works out. And so let's see. I am just catching up, you guys. Yes, so Soul has a really good point here. Probably would want to avoid glass or painted beads as far as that's concerned. Once again, coming through the draw plate. Although, because even a glass bead that's a seed bead might break when you're pulling it through the draw plate, given that it gets squeezed by an angle of the wire too hard. And so that's a really, really good point that you have. I wonder if maybe wood beads might be better. And like I said, the weaves that I've seen that have integrated beads in the past are loose. And so they don't pull it through, the really hard, tiny holes of the draw plate. Really, really good point there, Cheryl. And I'm still catching up on your awesome. I just love all of the whys that's happening in the chat. You guys are killing it. And I'm going to go ahead and hydrate here really quick. Awesome. Okay. And ooh, Cynthia. Okay, so Sandmaker is talking about maybe adding the beads afterwards. So you can always do like a stitch. Those of you who do some of the beading, like maybe use a thin gauge and do sort of a peyote stitch or something like that to stitch your beads on. And so just yet another weave style would be super neat. I love that idea, Randy. Thank you so much. And then we have this idea here. I have used this weave to set cabs. Didn't know it was called Viking. Oh, I love it. I have seen some of the cabs that have been set this way, and I think that they look brilliant. And so, very, very cool, Cynthia. I would love to see your work. If you would share it with us, that would be super neat. And Soul is here. Thanks again, Cynthia. I was wondering how you would intertwine the different colors of wires. And so, like I was saying before, there's a way that you can double stitch. And so, I believe that you start two wires at the same time and go through all of the weave, but with two wires instead of just one. And so you're either alternating or pulling two through the same weave. There's a couple different variations on that. I mean, they get super complex, which is really neat. Like I said, the sky's the limit. Or you can, each time that you end a piece of wire, start with a different color, and then you'd have stripes on down your line. And so there's a couple different ways of integrating the color that I think would be really, really super fun to play with. I've done the stripey kind, and it looked really super cool. And Papa's Gems is saying, I am working with black, gunmetal, and purple. Oh, that sounds just brilliant. I would love to see that. Excellent. And thank you so much, Tiger Eye. That is so, so generous of you to say. Uh, you guys all are super inspired, and we definitely are just kind of like lobbing the volleys across the court with like the inspiration. Like, I'll pitch something to you guys, and you guys serve it back, and we just get to be a particle accelerator of creative energy. And I do love that. Thank you so much. um or I love this. Do they even make that? Like, if there was ombre wire that was already like that, kind of like ombre, I love, quote unquote, I don't knit very well, but like using ombre um yarn to make something. I just love the way that that looks when you start getting the knitting going. And so, does this exist in the world? Because if this is the situation, then I need some in my life. But there's ways that you can patina your wire, both either before you start your project or after you start your project, where it could affect the different colors of what metal that you have going on as well. So that opal guy is on fire with these ideas. Soft plastic is another bead idea. Absolutely. Candy bead necklace stuff. I just put candy on there and just eat it as you go along. I like that idea. Creativity is in the house. Yes. You guys are totally sharing, and I just love this. I'm going to go ahead and refer back to this video because of what you guys are saying. This is super valuable for everybody. So thank you so much for being a part of all the good idea making that is happening right now. And Cheryl has just now become self-conscious of her profile pic. No worries, it's lovely. And Sonia saying, just listening, I'm feeling creative by sanding and filing. Oh, Sonia, you are making beautiful things. And so I just love, like I was saying before, I might be pulling a Viking weave while I'm listening to Alleluia create. He's like sanding away on one of his projects or filing away. It's just really fun to work in the atmosphere of other people working. Like I think when if you guys watched the podcast where we had Justin from Black Opal Direct, he does all of that work as he's going through the videos, and he's showing you step by step he's creating these gems. And I, during COVID, just would work alongside, and it was so cool because it felt like I was in a workspace with other people, and it felt alive, and the creative energy was there. And so, gosh, it's like just cool that we can be here for each other and be creating. And so they do sell ombre wire, says Allison. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna check in on that. I need some of that in my life. That is super cool. All right. Beautiful. And Afia Raka is asking, what is an ombre chain? Well, we're talking about ombre wire, but you could probably make ombre chain out of ombre wire. But an ombre just means that it has a color blend from one thing to another. And usually it's a very gradual color blend. And so say you're going from bright yellow through a little, orangier yellow through orange, through a dark orange into red, and then into more of a crimson red. And it might like dive into a, kind of plum color. And then you see purple coming through. And so usually it's just a progression of color that changes gradually, and it's just fabulous. And so I'm imagining doing the weave with such a creature. It would be gorgeous. And so we might have to try that. And so if I if I end up with that, I will post it up. I promise you that. Oh, so much to check out. And here, Rocky Mountain Bear likes to plant the seeds and watch them grow. Absolutely. And feasibly, could you have a different color wire running down within the chain you're making and just switch to that color periodically? Absolutely. I don't believe that there would be any super hard rules about this. You would interchange the one that was the active wire and let that fall inside, and then you could pick up the one that is the wire that you want to use, that was the one that was being latently inside the tube. And if you try that, Melissa, I would love to see. These are just all super great ideas that you guys are troubleshooting here in real time, and I'd love to see that. So yeah, let's see that. This is a challenge. Please entertain me with like all of these super cool ideas that you create. I would love to see this. And Papa's Gems is saying that it's pretty neat wire. Oh man. I might have to actually do like an internet search and get some later today. So here's another good question. Would coated wire or would the coating crack and peel? Oh my gosh, like I can't seem to read that. So I haven't worked with coated wire, and so I have absolutely no idea. One of the things that would be prohibitive for me working with the coated wire, though, to answer your question, is that I typically, not only do I like to patina the project, and you'll see why here in a second, but also I like to solder on the fasteners. So if I'm using a hook and loop kind of clasp, then I like to solder that stuff on. And so if you were using something coated, you just have to troubleshoot how you'd want to weave in the connectors. So how your clasp would work into the weave, which is absolutely possible. Since it's a weave to begin with, weaving into it to do different things totally works. And so that opal guy. So when you get done with an ombre wrap, do you say draw ombre? Yes, you do. And there's like whistling in the background and it's high noon. Love it. Perfect. Challenge accepted, says Melissa. Fantastic. Where did the Vikings get their wire? That's a good question. Perhaps Smog the Dragon, maybe they held up their metal to, like, pissed him off, and then held up the metal, and maybe Smog warmed it up, and then they pulled it apart, or it was they were pretty good metalsmiths. So I don't think we give those guys the credit they deserve for being as advanced for their time zone. Good question. All right, let me take that down. Radio Shack says that the Vikings would pillage Radio Shack for their wire. That's actually pretty funny, since Radio Shack is now somewhat antiquated in its own right. On Viking raids, of course, says Rocky. Oh, that's great. And then apparently, Vikings had Damascus blades, so yeah, they probably looted lots of Hobby Lobbies. That's great. You guys are fabulous, and you know a lot of history as well. And so let's do that. And I hope everybody's kind of square or looped or swagged on what it is that we do to get our weave going. So I'm going to do one more. I'm going to pull this through. We're going to upset the Opal guys' vision here really quick. So in through the swag, over that bottom lip, through behind the cross of the loop, and then pull it out on the left hand side. Always go in the right, come out the left, unless you're Melissa, who might be flipping it. I'd love to hear if Melissa actually did. And then pull it over, and then always just make sure that tail that's coming out the top is going over the top. All right. And so even though I'm not finished with this one, I'm going to go ahead and pull it through the draw plate, because we want to see what that looks like. We covered starting over again last podcast or live stream, and so you can check that out, but it's as easy as snipping it and then starting over. Do you guys need to see the start over? And yeah, everybody's Radio Shack. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's very punny. And so I'm just going to go ahead and leave a long tail here, because oftentimes when you're at the end of your project, that's what it is. And so we're also actually, it would be kind of cool to do a little experiment if I can find my calipers. Let's see. Yeah, there they are. Okay. So here we are. Here's our project. And let's turn this on to inches and find out what we've got here. So that's roughly, wow, we're like just about at 3 inches here. There you go. Like that was great planning on my part, apparently. So we're going to find out what 3 inches gets you as far as the length of the finished project. Now, I told you guys that your results may vary, because just dependent on your gauge and how tight your weave is and how many times you want to pull it through the draw plate, that's going to make it different for the end result of the length, if that is making sense to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Allen wrench out. And so now you guys can see what I was talking about. You could like put a little bead in there and sew up the end, and then tighten, just some of the remaining through the draw plate, and make like a super cool, kind of like a soccer ball holder out of the Viking weave. That would be something that you could possibly do. And so that's basically what it looks like before we go through the draw plate. And our draw plate is sitting right here next to some of the projects that we've already progressed with. And like I said, all you have to do is do some drilling, but you can see that this project is definitely fat. And we'll be starting at one of these first great big gigantic holes because it is a big fat project. And so let's see. You guys are too funny. Nobody's gonna touch any comments about measurings, huh? Yeah, anybody's results may vary. And so here's my draw plate. This one's kind of thick. It doesn't have to be. If you want it to be thinner, it does make everything easier. Although you'll wear through the holes a little bit faster. And so you can see this is not going through that hole of its own accord. It's going to need to get drawn. And so draw, hombre. I've got my simple pliers. I'm going to grab it by the tape, and I'm going to use just a touch of muscle, and we're going to pull that through. And this is like absolutely the most pleasurable part, I think. Like I said, you can zone out as you're weaving, but when you're pulling it, it's just like, it's so much fun. Like I said, I don't like to do the big reveal until I'm done, because this is like rewarding for me anyway. And so you can see it's already it's getting a little bit tighter. As you pull it, it gets tighter. And then let's just see really quick. Now I know we are all adults here, and I did see some of the comments from last time, but we're gonna see what happens when you pull it. And I'm trying to make sure that we're on the inches. And so we'll put that there, and we'll pull this over here. And so we are already at, almost 4 inches from one pull. All right. How many people's lips are bleeding from biting them and tongues or whatever? Okay, so here, let's pull it again. And so I'm going to work down a little bit, and because, why not just squeeze it through a narrower hole? Like, I don't have to progress down each hole each time. If you feel like you've got the muscles to just yank it harder, go for it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pull this through a yet much thinner hole, and you can see it's getting tighter and longer. And that did, it required a little bit of effort to get it through that time. And we can still see kind of the space of one of the places where I had to start a wire over again, but that's looking pretty consistent and pretty good. And so now that we pulled it again, yes, very pleasurable. Let us see how long it is now after all of this pulling and whatnot. Okay, so that was a really good pull, because now we're looking at let's see, trying to straighten it out with one hand and measure it with the other. So yeah, we're into 5 inches from 3. And so who wants to go thinner? I do. So I typically like to pull them pretty thin, or if you want like another vantage point at it, I like it to look kind of on the dense side. And so if you use more, like if you use 6 loops or 7 loops or 8 loops, like I think Jenny was asking about, you'll have a denser weave. And if you use less loops, like if you use 4, then it's going to be open, and it will remain a cylinder that is hollow on the inside for longer. And so you'll have to pull it more times, and it'll probably have elongated loops. Like also I like tidier loops than elongated ones. And these things are all going to make a bunch of sense to you. If they don't now, they will once you do a weave or two or three. And so here we go. We're going to go into I think what is a smaller, yep. Tape's almost not wanting to go through. That starts to be a problem at one point, and you might have to take the tape off, or it might come off by itself, or you might have to wrestle a little bit, and that's completely normal. So we're going to draw it through this one, and wait, yeah, that did something. That's probably up to 5.5 or so. I want to take it through another smaller one, so I'm going to take it through this little guy down here. And just because of the nature of my plank, I can turn it over, and then I can get like a good purchase on the plank again, as far as being able to muscle it. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it through here. And that tape cleared it fine. And that gives a little bit of resistance. And so here we are at that. Here's 6 inches. Behave. And so from the top of the calipers so that's just shy of 6 inches now, she said. Because there's our 6-inch mark right there. That's where this particular caliper ends as far as its measurements go. And let me tell you that, okay, $1 is 6 inches, right? And that's actually a good way to measure for a bracelet, because like a medium-sized bracelet, I believe, is supposed to be about at 6 inches. And so there you go. And I'm going to actually pull this even more. And so also to give you, let's see, I better not lose track of the chat here. So hold on just a second. I say that is 9 inches, says that opal guy. I swear. Innuendo hour with Karen. Yes, cheers. Cheers to that. Is it just me, or is it getting hot in here? Indeed, it does look good, says Allison. Thank you. I'm proud of you, says Bear. Or I'm proud of you, Bear, says Jennifer, right? Yeah, for probably just chewing the tongue off right now. Take note, men, says Melissa. And listening over here, hot weave, Jenny says. And yes, Rocky is thanking Jennifer. I even surprise myself sometimes. Excellent. Wondering what you could put in the middle of the wire that would look good. I've seen people, like I said, do some pretty neat marbles that reside inside the wire. And so, you can kind of try with some of the little things that you might have around. Would be good. Put a fiber optic in it and rig it up on an LED light to make it glow, for sure. Like absolutely. What those tiny lights would go great in there. I love the idea. I wonder if that could even be like a heated bracelet. Like a little bit of ambient warmth from the lights. We're getting there. Got longer, but still flaccid. So whatever. Right. How big are the holes need to make a draw plate? And so Jenny, what I did as far as that draw plate goes is like I literally took my drill. I have like a Black & Decker set, like a Black & Decker drill and a Black & Decker set of the drills. And I started with the biggest, meatiest one that was in like this collection that it came with. I think it came with something like, I don't know, 12 or 15 different sizes that were descending in the metrics of drill bit size. And I just went down the line with the drill and just drilled all the different sized holes. And that's when I found out really fast that the holes change sizes when you're drawing metal through them. And so there isn't a whole lot of method to the madness other than the fact that, like, okay, when that hole is too big to be of service anymore, then you have to drill another one that's smaller. And so, it kind of graduates that way. I'm sure that we could be more specific about it, but I certainly was not. I just like I had a bunch of drills, and so I was like, okay, cool. I'm off to the races. Like I said, I think it took me 5 minutes to make my draw plate, and I was already back watching the video like with enthusiasm, like, yeah, I get to pull my project. And so does that answer your question enough? Hopefully, yeah, it's just not exact. But what I did want to do is that you can actually, after experimenting, you can create a little bit more exact of a thing where you can specifically go, okay, I'm going to only pull until I get to 3 meters, 3 millimeters, or whatever, quarter inch or what have you. If you've got some calipers or a way that you can measure, then you can go ahead and play that game. I'm just going by the aesthetic of what I'm looking for. And so usually what I do is like, oh, that looks good to me. That's good for that project. And then I end up usually measuring it once I'm like just writing it up for my website or something like that. And so at this time, um, this is like, uh, looks like about a quarter inch or 3 millimeters and 7. So just like shy of 4 millimeters width. And I consider this kind of on the fat side, you can see. And so that would be great for a guy's um not an anklet, a wristlet. Bracelet. Oh my gosh, words. And yet it actually would just fit me. Like with a clasp on it would be like the perfect size for me. And so I'm going to pull this a little bit more and make it a little bit bigger. And so I'm going to select one of these smaller holes here, and we're going to find out. And like what's cool is when you make your own draw plate, you'll figure out like, okay, these holes, if I can get the thing through one of these holes, it's going to be this size. And so you'll have your science ready. And so let's pull this. Whoa. And so you can see this one's offering a little bit of here, let me actually, I'm not anywhere near as exciting as that. And so it's going to take some muscling to get it through here. Now you want to graduate it at least somewhat so that you don't try to take it through a hole that it won't go through and you end up breaking the wire. So that's the only real rule, is like try not to break it. And so like this to me is much more pleasing. It's a little bit thinner, but you see how much denser that weave looks. And so now if we brought in this guy from the calipers, it's still looking like, okay, so we're just over 6 inches now. And so that put on, we were just under 6 inches. Now we're over it. And so now we'd be getting into like a larger, like this would be medium large on the bracelet size once the clasp is on there, more bangle size for me. And so LOL wristlet. Right? Words. Oh my gosh. Technically could do this with any gauge wire. Drawing bridge cable would be, I saw that drawing a bridge cable. I think you commented last time on that. And so, yeah, very difficult. Let me tell you, the thicker the wire, the more difficult it gets exponentially. And when I was first starting, I'd wear tape on my fingers because I would start to like wear out or give myself blisters or even cut my fingers from pulling just the loops while weaving. And so you might find a happy medium where your hands are happy with the gauge that you're working with and you still find it pleasant to work with. I won't work with anything thicker than about a 22 gauge. Like 18 gauge starts getting to be too thick. And I have some 16 gauge around the studio that I love doing other things with, but I would never consider trying to weave with it. It would just be so difficult to try to wrangle. Like, you'd have to be using pliers. You couldn't probably even weave it with your fingers. Um, Draw it in a tunnel. Sure. Right, with a train or something like that. Maybe hardwood leftovers at the construction site. Yeah, Sonia, definitely. Like I said, I wanted something hard, and so the cherry wood, like walnut or anything like that, would be so good for this if you're making your own draw plate. And you can go thinner. Like I said, this is kind of on the thick side, and sometimes it's a little difficult to get the tape end through, especially if I'm trying to do one of those like really thin ones where I'm pulling it quite thin. Well, Doug, I'm being restrained. No need to wear out my welcome kit. Hey, Doug is saying hi. Welcome in, Doug. Good to see you. All across the net, they said this was the life to go to for some good gutter bombs, right? And so I raised here. Awesome. Yeah, that's what we're up to tonight. Trying to weave some length, pull some length into this Viking weave that we are working on. And so, like I said, as you're pulling it through, it gets rid of most of the mistakes or odd stitches that you might make. It just becomes a beautiful thing. And so this is why I feel like anybody can do this, and it's a valuable skill if you want to be able to make your own jewelry pieces. And so there's that guy. And to progress on, we have and ask any questions as far as that this guy is concerned right here. But I kept on showing this guy last time, and this has some of the findings on it already. This is the very one that we were weaving on Monday. And so you can see it doesn't look like the other one, though, because I put it in the liver of sulfur patina already. And one of the reasons why I like to patina the project is I do like the brilliant copper look. That's very, very pretty. Some people like the shiny penny pink to rust color, and this will patina itself into colors of rust and who knows what as the wearer wears it. And so there's that. And then you can go ahead and do almost what looks like an antiquing to your piece with the liver of sulfur. And I meant to, oh, I do have it. Oh my gosh, I meant to have it, and I do. Look at this. Okay, so here's my liver of sulfur. This stuff smells so rank. So it lives in a bag, and I can still smell it. You can see that this particular batch of it is quite old. It lasts a long time, and yet you don't want to have it last a long time because it will lose its efficacy. It loses its strength with age. And so, at any rate, I love the liver of sulfur to it's literally sulfur, and ooh, I'm just knocking everything over, and it will go ahead and give your project a patina, and it happens fast. Like, that's about a minute in a good liver of sulfur bath. And let's see, Kirk is asking, what radio frequency does is work for wrist antenna? I'm not sure. It would be one of the W ones, though, and not one of the K ones. W from the East Coast instead of the K, which might be for cankle. And so a winch and pulley system. We're still on pulling a big one, right? It would be fun to make a male shirt out of this technique. Yeah, it would look amazing. And let's see. Faraday cage for your radius and ulna. Nice. And some very official vernacular there. And Doug is pleading, not saying anything. A mouse I am, pleading the fifth. I've got some project dust there. you can countersink the holes to make the pulling parts smaller. Yeah, yeah, you totally could, Sandmaker. There's definitely ways to be more sophisticated for sure. And yeah, the like I absolutely love the way that the liver of sulfur makes both copper gets darker than the silver. And it does turn like sort of like a blue, and then the silver more of like that gunmetal gray. And so I find it delicious. And then when you polish it up, then you have a neat contrast, and that's what we're about to do. And so thank you, Sandmaker, for that. And let's see, the copper would look awesome with a forced shipwreck patina. How do you do that? Let me know about that, Rocky. I'm not entirely sure. I know how to do the forced shipwreck. The greenish patina of really anodized or oxidized copper, like the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, they have the acids that'll do that for you too. So you can go ahead and apply that and have that ready. Although I've found with jewelry that it doesn't, especially with a jewelry item that, might take a lot of wear and tear, like a bracelet, I would want to be able to say wear while I'm washing dishes, or, if I find myself all of a sudden going surfing or something like that. Um, you don't want the patina to wash off. Liver of sulfur is really, really dedicated to staying on. I found that some of the patinas that turn green, like the acid preparation, doesn't stay on as well when there's any kind of a braiding, which does happen a lot with like a bracelet gets a lot of that sort of use, whereas maybe it would look good on a necklace and not perhaps wear off. And so, how do you finish the end when ready to stop? Okay, and so that's something that I very lightly touched upon last week, and we'll go there first, and then we're gonna patina or deal with that patina really quick. And so here we have this guy, and this is one way to deal with an end cap, although you can deal with it any way that you want. Um, I was saying that, if you want to weave in your clasp, then you can weave it in if you don't want to solder. This cap is soldered on. And so I just fashioned a barrel out of copper, and I soldered it on. There's my solder joint right there. And then I soldered the little top piece on, and created a little finding here. I like to do hook and clasp, and so all of that stuff you can handmade make quite readily in your studio out of snips and bits. And so that's how I have taken care of quite a few of these, although there's fancier ways of doing it with soldered pieces that you create that are part of the jewelry design, which I've done as well. This is a simple solution. And then also, like I said, some people will like, this is what the raw edge looks like, that's been snipped off for size, and you can see how there's loops available. You can start with the loops and take up those loops with another piece of wire and create a clasp or a loop out of that. And so I hope that kind of answers your question. I only have the one example at this moment. I was cleaned out of all of these guys that were made and finished a while back, and I hadn't done any of the Viking weaves for a while. And so unfortunately, I am cleaned out of finished ones. Um, So, how do you use the liver of sulfur? Northern Rocks asks. It's very simple. You prepare your project by it being clean and like oxide free. And so that might be like a quick sanding, or you can put it in if you're a jeweler and you have soldering pickle available, then you can dunk it in the soldering pickle to make sure that it's clean, rinse it off. towel it dry and make sure that any of the stuff that wanted to come off of it has come off of it. And then I have really super hot water that runs in my pipes. My hot water heater is like on steroids, and so you can burn yourself with the water that comes out of my pipes. And that's the perfect temperature. Like, it doesn't need to be boiling, but it does need to be hot. And so you take your very hot water. I like to fill up a jar with the hot water. I put my project in, and then I let the water circulate. That cleans the project a little bit more. And then it also warms up the project. You want your project to be warm, and you want your liver of sulfur water to be warm. Your liver of sulfur stinks like sulfur. It is disgusting. Like, somebody will think that like you let out like the most ominous of all Viking farts in your house. Like, it is that, is pillaging just in and of itself. And so you have to do this outside is my big suggestion. And so I just prepare the water and the project inside in a jar that I can lid. So I love using old pickle jars. And so I save my pickle jars that have lids. And when my project is ready, I'll go ahead and take it outside. And my project's already in it. I will take my liver of sulfur and open this up and, gasp for air. And also it's noxious. You don't want to be huffing this stuff anyway. Take the lid off. There's like little rocks of sulfur in here. And so with copper tongs, or, tweezers, I'll go ahead, and I don't have any readily available, but whatever you stick in the jar to fetch your project once you're done needs to be patina-able, or that you're okay getting patina on. And so I don't use my good tweezers, like jewelry tweezers. I use copper ones that are just for the pickle and just for the liver of sulfur. And so heat that, and then dunk it, put the rock in. It takes about a minute, and you get like this. I mean, this is on here. Like, it's on here good. That's not going anywhere. That is as dark as it's going to be, and it would take quite a lot of wearing for that to wear off from it. I mean, it's just really tenacious. They sell some different products that are liver of sulfur that's ready made. I don't find them to be quite as good as using regular plain old sulfur to do your thing. And thank you so much, John, for being here. I really appreciate you coming. And Jackie is in the house. Oh my gosh. And she just got checked into a hotel room for the night. Her brain hurts. Please, no farting Vikings. I know you came at like such the perfect time. Why are patinas so stinky? Well, this one is because it's sulfur, and then the other ones, it feels like because they're acids. And so I think that I haven't met a patina that isn't stinky, and it's because it's a chemical of one kind or another. For goodness sakes. What solder did I use for the copper? I always use regular silver solder, and I just try to clean it up really good. I have never ever found a good copper solder that matches copper, that holds it. Like, I've found some crap products that don't work and tried them. And yeah, I just use what I use with my silver, and I just try to clean it up. Just make your soldering joints nice and tight, and you'll still be able to see a little bit, but it won't be too bad. And it's a thing that's made by hand anyway, and we're not trying to be machines, so it's okay, right? But that's a good question, Manny. Thank you for that. And let's see. Rocky Mountain Bear is saying, yep, Tupperware works great. Use white ammonia. Different types of salt will give you different effect. Just search for shipwreck patina copper, and you will find great videos. Thank you so much for that information, Rocky. I really appreciate that. Some ammonia is going to do it. All right. So I'll bet you that's exciting to try to not breathe as well. And Sandmaker saying sleep well, Jackie, and we do hope that you can get some sleep and that you're doing all right. Let's see. Can you smell what the rock is patinaing? I don't know, but that's a good point. You want to do all this stuff before you set any of your rocks, or else you might get a patinaed rock, which would be a total bummer. You don't want to use the liver of sulfur once you've already set a rock because it could die also, which would be bad. You'd have a died dead rock. Oh no. Jackie's saying, Sandmaker, I'm not sleeping. There is a poker game happening outside my room in the breakfast area. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much, that Opal guy, for hanging out for the entertainment and the teaching. And Awake Learner is here. Good to see you, Awake. Very nice. And so what I wanted, yes, in a well ventilated area is saying Rocky Mountain Bear, which is good. I definitely would love everybody to make sure to do that. Now, this is an answer for Melissa that she asked me sometime during the week, the polishing part. And so these are one of my favorite polishing things. Sorry, this is like kind of a grungy little kit here, but its own stuff gets all over it because this is some of the dirty work. But I have no affiliation with this company, but I do love their product, Dedeco, and I buy these. They are for rotary tools, and they are polishing. You can get discs, you can get the saucers, so like the little flying saucer ones, and then the flat ones that are like wheels, and then you can get these great uh, like the barrels, and those are particularly good for doing like the inside of rings and stuff like that. And right here, this particular set came with coarse, kind of like a medium coarse, and this is like the beginning polish, and that's the fine polish. And I just wanted to show you guys this because we're going to use this really quick now, because the our wire is already pretty much polished. You know, when we got started, it was already a finished piece of wire for all intents and purposes. It's got a pretty decent polish on it. So I don't have to backtrack and use anything with more grit. The more grit that you use, the more cleanup and polishing you have to do. And what we just want to do is bring the polish back on the tops of what we just patinaed, and leave some of the patina on the inside of the weave so that it looks, just kind of antiqued. And so this thing that's been hanging out awkwardly all evening, here's my Fordham, and here is one of the coarse ones I was just using on a bracelet that's just sitting over there. And so this is the quick release hand piece. I liked this very much for my jewelry making. I don't have to use a key or anything. I use this little release on the hand piece. See if I can turn it over so that you guys can see. And then I can just easily put the next thing in. I'm going back and forth between my different burrs and things like that all the time, constantly. And so I don't like using the other kind of hand piece. This quick release is way better. It's touchy. You can't use this with water or anything like that. It's like a little prima ballerina of a hand piece. Got to be careful with it. I did ruin one. But this particular one, since I don't use it with water, has lasted me years. It's just that, for some of the upsides of the big beefy one that you can get wet, there are downsides, and you have to use the key to open up your release, whereas this one you can just go back and forth between burrs and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to just take the patina off of the project here. This is kind of funny because I'm watching it on the monitor, but I'm doing it in my hands over here to the side, which is awkward. But I just wanted to show you guys, like, if you want to do this to your weave with the, getting the different colors going. This is kind of the attack that you want to use. So I'm bringing uh, the beautiful copper back out, and then there's going to be plenty of that weave that's going to hold the black down inside. And so, if I had one of the round ones, this is the blue and the pink that I would want to be using. Might even be easier, and I would just, go along and just see if I can get that into. There we go. Yeah, and just kind of roll it around and take the patina off of like the tops. Now, if you don't have a rotary tool, or if you are don't have that particular kind of polishing, there's other ways. You could use like a barrel sander or something like that. I just use something very fine because you don't want to undo the polish that's already there. You just want to take the patina off. So I usually go blue, and then I go pink to remove what I want. Now, like I said, if you don't have this kind of tool available, sandpaper is just fine. And so this is 600, and you could just go ahead and be wiping off the patina with your 600 sandpaper, and you would be doing just fine with that. So, just working your project like so, and taking off the patina that way. And then from 600 sandpaper, all you'd have to do is progress. You could either go for another finer sandpaper and then polish, or just go straight to jewelry polish, and that would be sufficient to work that into submission. And so, where are we at? You can kill a rock, Jackie, if you add enough liver of sulfur, apparently. I've done such things, and it was sad. I thought that a piece of moss agate would survive, and it didn't. So it was kind of a bummer. Um, and yeah, that opal guy, some opal potch might be really fun to see. It's hot water, so I wonder what that might do to the opal. You want that water pretty darn hot, and so hopefully you wouldn't find cracks. But if it's potch, you could just play with that anyway, and it might have a super neat effect. I mean, you might start something completely new. Um, and those sunburst bristle wheels work really well too. I agree, Rocky. They're a little bit on the spendy side for me. I got some with my Fordham when I first ordered the Fordham. It came with like this wonderful jewelry kit of all these fun, like, things to use, and I burned through those things so fast. I was like, okay, I can't afford to use several of those on just one project. When I graduate to maybe engagement rings or something like that, then I'll go back, because they work so good. And so I use the Eve polishing pins that are very small, like they have a 2 millimeter polishing pin to get into the little places, or I use diamond paste on literally shish kebab skewers. That you can put in. If you guys have a Dremel, and you have either a regular Dremel, or if you have a flex shaft Dremel, let me show you something here really quick. Hello. I'll get into the other picture too. Like, how many parts of Karen are there? Okay, so here's just like all sorts of mayhem going on in the studio. Here's my Dremel, and it's on a flex shaft, but I believe this will work with a regular Dremel. And I was using these. I love silver and brass. The brushes that you can get, super good for cleaning up projects and preparing them for like a patina or something like that. And so or adding a very nice satin finish if that's where you want the project to end. So those of you who are familiar with your Dremels might not recognize this chuck. If you don't have this chuck, get it. I love this chuck so much. It will change your life. Okay, so it will accept anything from, I can't remember what the beginning size is, and this one's really old, so it's a little sticky. But as you close it, see it changes its size there, and so if you want to use a shish kebab skewer with diamond paste on it for that little point, that little fabulous bamboo point at the end, you can go ahead, and if you have like this variable size chuck. You can get your bamboo and open this up and be able to stick your bamboo right in. So it's a little sticky because I use this with water. My Dremel is the thing that does the heavy lifting that I don't use my Fordham for. And so yeah, there we go. So that would be big enough to get like a bamboo skewer point in, and then boom, you're off to polishing races. Big time. I love that about the Dremel. And so, I have the Fordham for some things and I have the Dremel for other things, and it's fabulous. And so for the Fordham, if you want to make bamboo skewer or um, wooden dowel polishers, then all you have to do is take one of, like, if you have something that will fit into your Fordham, like a broken burr or something like that, then you go ahead and either epoxy or glue the skewer onto the end, or you can use a drilling and gluing process to create like points for polishes out of your old burrs that break, that you can use with your Fordham, that are the right size for that. And I have a collection of those back behind me in the workbench. And so there's ways that you can make anything that you need for polishing for your tools. And that's Melissa started this a little bit, and I know that you're getting into your Fordham, and so just wanted, like, here, there's a whole bunch of thought fodder for you, and hopefully that you can solve any of the polishing problems that you might be having with some of that information. And if you have any additions to that, you can leave them in the comments, or any questions about that, then also leave them in the comments, or hit me up at Discord, and we can have a talk about that. Do you wax the piece at the end of the process? I don't wax I don't wax any of my copper. I have waxed copper for people that requested it because they bought jewelry from me, and just a simple, like a beeswax or something like that, hot piece, and clean it up afterwards. Although most of the people that buy the copper from me want the contact and want to absorb the copper, and I love the way that the copper looks when it does a patina job on itself. If you're leaving it copper pink and it's beautiful, on my website there's a fact page about how to take care of your copper pieces. And I just, I state there, I don't treat it, because I love the way that a copper penny will patina and turn red and pink and purple and all these different colors, sometimes green, just because of all the different things that come into contact with it. And then just as easily, if you want to polish it, a little bit of jewelry polish and a rag, and you can bring it right back to copper penny and start over again. So I like that more so than treating my work. Oh geez, the torture devices come out, right? 132 is the size for your Fordham, eh? And multiple sizes. Like, there's the ones that usually love to go into the chuck of the Dremel, which is yet another size. And so, yeah, I love that variable size chuck, because then it'll just accept everything. And hopefully, yeah, that was good for you, Melissa. Thank you. And yep, lots of different sizes. You guys are all on the same page. This is fantastic. Mr. Turtle Montana is here. And speaking of glue, I almost wonder if I should read this. Last night I handed my wife a glue stick instead of chapstick. I think she's really mad because now she won't even speak to me. You're always good for that. Thank you so much, Mr. Turtle Montana. That's great. um, let's see. What do you mean? The Dremel is adjustable. Chuck isn't compatible. Oh, I'm sorry that that you don't have the adjustability thing. Bummer. Okay, so anyways, do you guys have any other questions about the Viking Weave project? We can do a little bit more finishing at another time, but I wanted to make that somewhat brief. I mean, we have gone kind of a little bit long with our internet glitches and everything that we had tonight. So. We had, I know Brian was asking last on Monday, and a few other people. Jackie was one that was asking for a bracelet. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to, I've got a few of the bracelets already that you can see, and I'm going to create some more. And on Sunday, I'm going to go live and they will be available. And so, just because of the absence of Kyle, we'll go ahead and have like a little mini sale. And so if you want a Viking Weave bracelet, they'll be available. Plus I've got some other things that I'll have on, and it won't just be about that. We'll have some other fun as well. So don't worry if you're not excited about needing to buy something, then there's going to be other stuff going on that will look at rocks and do some other stuff too. But I thought I might try that, and since you guys said that you wanted some, then we'll go ahead and get these guys rolling for you guys, so that you can have some instant gratification. You can say you saw it made. So let's see. Well, maybe we need to get you the Dremel then, Rocky, so that you can have your adjustable chuck. Those things are just deal breakers. I love that thing so much. Brian gets none. Oh no, Jackie. I know Brian hasn't been around. Where'd he go? So hopefully we'll be able to track down Brian. I'll let him know that there may or may not be. I think he wanted a really thick one, so he might want that bridge cable one. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to weave that by Sunday, and so need to get the new Lysol. It handles Viking farts, right? You gotta watch out for those Viking farts. Those will conquer and pillage in a way that no one wants to see. It's worse than Loki's breath, right? And so Northern Rocks is asking me what time I'd like to be on Sunday. It seems like Katie usually does a premiere, and so I'm thinking that I probably will go on after Katie did. Is it like weigh in, like, would earlier in the day be better? Or I kind of like the early evening thing, as people are kind of winding down. You can have like a snack and then maybe hang out. And so oh no, Jenny Stone's Gramps would say it stinks pretty. Pretty bad. Um, so I told her it was a mistake and she really should learn to embrace her mistakes. So she gave me a hug. You've got a million of them. How do you do that? I can't even remember my favorite jokes ever. Like, I just remember, like, a horse walks into a bar and the bartender asks, "Why the long face?" Like, that's like, I'm really, really simple. Or the termite walks into the bar and asks, "Where's the bartender?" So those are the ones. And then, like, "Where's my rim tap?" It should be coming from upstairs. I think the dogs have my back. They'll be playing my kit there. Um, And Allison's just not gonna have any of the Lysol. There's no Lysol for her. Um, and, uh, oh, Mr. Turtle Montana keeps them warm. He keeps those bad jokes warm by telling them to everybody, I'm sure at, like, every possible time. Um, Early Eve is so cool. All right, so Sonia is voting for the early Eve. Excellent, because that really kinda works for me very well. I can kinda get all my stuff done, and oh my gosh, Kurt's here. Hey, Kurt, we're just winding up. It was a good time, but, um, thanks so much for a fun, podcast earlier. That was a blast, and, I want your bike. Don't get me near that bike. I totally wanna open up the throttle on that thing. And Tiger Eye is saying early Eve is good too, so perfect. Yeah, I'll probably go on after Kate whenever that is, like 5 or 6-ish. And I will, as soon as I figure it out, I will put up the time, so you know a thumbnail will come up for you if you've got your notifications on, and I'll put it on the Discord so that you guys can know there. And Allison, Kurt, you missed so much. That's okay. He can always watch the replay. And boy, I think he got a whole bunch of Karen yesterday. Well, we were hanging out. It was fun. It was a good hangout, making the podcast. And so, that all being said, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight and hanging out and talking about stinky Viking farts and learning how to do the Viking weave and all the good. You guys are all so cool for hanging out. Thanks so much, Sonia and Rocky and Allison and Mr. Turtle Montana, and of course Kurt for coming now. And Mr. Turtle Montana likes flapjacks. Nice. And I think did I say Sonia already? And Tiger Eye and Jenny and Randy and my mom was here, and of course John, who was here earlier, and all y'all hanging out. Spot, of course, Melissa, who's probably like busy doing finger things right now. This will give you a little bit of this if you do it for too long. So get your finger stretches in and all that kind of good stuff, so that you don't get all crampitis on yourselves. Yeah, and so thank you so much. I told you that there would be a mild surprise here at the end, so I'm gonna outro you guys with that. And oh my gosh, Mr. Turtle Montana, thank you so much. Like, here I am, just being so like thankful for all your wonderfulness hanging out this evening, and I really appreciate that as well. I think I'm gonna go buy myself some ombre wire with that. I'm dangerous. I'm probably going to turn right around and go hit the interwebs and see about that. And oh, Manny, I didn't mean to forget you. I'm saving some of the best for last. Thank you so much for hanging out. And Cheryl, also, is this where Viking Finger got started from making Viking chains? Yes. Yeah. That's scary. And Doug is here. Thank you so much. Thanks for that vote of confidence. I really appreciate that. And also to you, Randy, thank you. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate all of your positive feedbacks. It definitely keeps us going. And so, what was I just doing? I was putting the cue on for this. We'll start the outro. Oh, I guess I don't have to do that. All right, so never mind about that. Okay, so cheers, everyone. Thanks. Have a great weekend. Go check out all the lives that everybody is doing on the weekend. I'll see you around there. Keep rocking. Hope that you find some good rocks, or at the very least, stay away from this weird spring weather that's trying to be winter still. And to that, I bid you good night for now. I'll see you around.